Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being on our program. I'm Armando F. Sanchez, Armando F. Sanchez Productions. I'm very excited about today's show. We have Liz Weber. Now, I've known Liz off and on. We've talked bits and pieces, but what excites me about Liz is two things. First of all, her outgoing personality. She's excited. She feels like she did something great in her life. Uh, Recently retired police officer here in the Southern California region area. And more than I've always gotten from her is the sense of energy about the kind of work that she did. Very proud about what she did, and yet a little regret. But it wasn't in her hands. The regret of being able to join the military and be on the front. But being in the police department, I don't think she would have gotten as much exposure being in the front, being in the police force for 25 years versus being in the military as you thought of maybe being a sniper as well. But that would have been a very short career. This one, I think you took on a lot more and a lot more challenging areas. But let me not share those, put those words in my mouth here. Let me pass it on to you. So, Elizabeth, thank you very much for being on the show.
Armando, thank you for having me. I'm excited about this show. I'm excited to talk about my years as a police officer. I'm excited to talk about my second career as a novelist. And I really want to showcase my second novel called Warrior Woman Sniper. Pretty
Women,
excited about that.
women warrior sniper. Got it. Let's get some background here for our viewers and listeners so that we can sort of gauge where we're going with this wonderful information. Now, you worked and retired as a police officer after 25 years. And again, you mentioned now you're writing. Uh, what excites you most about the new chapter of your life as a writer?
Well, I wanted to be a writer while concurrently being a police officer. And as a police officer, when you're out in the field, and my writing outline of my very first book stayed with me for that first 25 years. So my first book called Rapier Vengeance, I outlined as a police officer for 25 years. And what I'm saying is it was my go-to place to escape when dealing with the harsh realities of cop work. So if I was standing at a post at a crime scene or guarding a prisoner at a hospital or just dealing with an uncomfortable environment or trauma that I was experiencing in the field, I would click in my brain the outline of my first book and I would work on that adventure story in my mind. And I would just immerse myself in that outline. I couldn't wait to write this story when I retired. So that was my go to avenue of escape. And after 25 years of honing and crafting this fantastic adventure story, when I retired, I wrote it. And the story just flew out of me with such vivid action and emotion. The creative process of writing is just absolutely fantastic. I had no idea that I was that talented to actually put together a fantastic book. It just is amazing to be an author.
Wonderful. You mentioned in your bio and in your books and different areas, you love motorcycles. You have one. I used to see one. Yeah, I know you got rid of it. Four by fouring, activities on the beach, especially here near Oceanside. Do these adventurous passions fuel the way you write action and danger into your stories?
Absolutely. So, yes, very much so. So, in chapter one of Warrior Woman Sniper, my female heroine, Jessica King, rides her motorcycle, her sport bike up Big Bear Mountain. And I described that amazing ride with such feeling and emotion because a lot of readers have never experienced motorcycling, that rush of adrenaline and that pleasure of riding. To feel the movement of the rider and motorcycle dancing together on a curved mountain road. It's just amazing. So, yes, I have so many adventures in my personal life. I brought those to real life in my book my sniper book with my female heroine. And she goes swimming in the ocean. She drives a pickup truck. She hikes the Grand Canyon. She shoots guns. She reads romance novels. Everything that I love to do, I instilled in this female military all the way from boot camp and as she progresses on later on into a combat infantry soldier.
So now you motivated me to go out and read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance again. You remind me of
So,
that. Uh, why did you pick a female who was a Comanche?
so I wanted a strong female, and I want somebody different than the average heroines out there. I wanted somebody with a Native American heritage because I feel they are amazing warriors. I mean, just it's instilled in their DNA, their matrix of their heritage. So I chose Comanche just as the warrior. I wanted her to be the first female forging her way into forward combat, the front lines of the military. So back in 2016, this is when my book starts. I wanted to write about a female going into forward combat because that's when the US military opened up the band of the front lines and all positions open to women for qualified women that can achieve that level of physical fitness and warrior ethos, that command presence that you need to be an infantry officer. So when they opened up the military, this is the story of Jessica King as she goes through boot camp, becomes an infantry officer, infantry soldier, becomes the first Army sniper female, and then goes into the front lines actively as the first female. So I used her as that token to forge the path that women can do this job and they can do it spectacularly because they are warriors at heart.
Now, is there a reason you picked Comanche over Shoshone or Apache or something else?
No, I researched so many different Native American tribes in the United States, and I chose Oklahoma because that's where Jessica King's grandparents live, and that's where the Comanches are based. So it's mostly just the middle of the country. I just chose Comanche, not because it was held above any of the others. I just did it geographically because it's in the middle of the country and it fit with my story. And I needed to have some kind of tribe that he's from. And there's so much pride and heritage as it goes through the story of her as a Native American and becoming that warrior woman like her ancestors were.
Now, the whole idea, you take on several major topics: women breaking through, women breaking through the military, women breaking through sniper school, women breaking through a heavily male dominated environment. What, how do you see this whole idea of becoming the first?
Because I was, and I am, as a female in the police department world, when I first started back in 1990, there was only 10% of the force was women. And back then it was male dominated. There was males in the supervisory positions. Females just really hadn't, they made it up the chain of command, but they just didn't have their presence with only 10% of being females. So I felt that male domination, the discrimination, that males were the elite, the best, and female don't belong. So I felt that when I started my career, but instead of being pushed down, it brought me up because I became stronger. I fought harder. I proved to myself and my peers that I am a great cop. I can handle all the adventure, all the excitement, all the physical fighting and trauma and all that. I was at the fastest person to get to the front lines of the battle in my city because of course I worked in the hood of San Diego for throughout my entire career. I was always the first up to raise my hand and the first up to go out to that hot call that we would go out on. So I mirrored Jessica King from my experiences. But my number one experience was I was the only female motorcycle officer in my unit at the time that I was there. There was only two other females that made it before me. So it was an elite male dominated position, and I was discriminated against as a female, and it was very difficult for me to go over to that unit. So I'll probably talk about that a little bit further. We're just delving into the first questions here. But yes, I mirrored her because women are awesome, and I wanted her to be an elite military infantry soldier, and I patterned her off of me.
Have things changed? Are
No,
are opportunities for women now better?
yes, they are. So now there's 15 to 20% females on the force. Women are great cops just because they can handle the job, they have patience. Uh, it's just females doing an amazing, amazing job. So I'm proud to be, part of the first group of females that was going through to prove that females can do the job. So now, oh my gosh, the attitude in the police force has changed so much. The males grew up with us and they are accepting and they understand, and a lot of them want to have a female as a partner just because it balances out the work they can do in the field. So we've proven ourselves. Females are amazing, and law enforcement as an overall has changed for the better, and there's less discrimination and bigotry out there now. I'm proud of that.
You should be, because you made the change also. You proved that this was possible and this was for the better. Let me take you to a question just popped up in what you said in this idea. Without any major research, just on the spot right now, when you're dealing with people on the street, whether it be whatever question, simple question where I'm lost to all the criminal activities, how much of that are you dealing with women and how much of that with males? What percentage?
Crime is widespread, all social, racial, gender, all avenues, walks of life. I can tell you if I've arrested someone, handcuffed him, and put him in the back seat of my police car, the higher percentage is male. And just to go a little further, I think men are more aggressive. They have more of a that outlook of crime than females do. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of females out there, but percentage wise of people sitting in the back seat of my police car are men.
Okay, the reason I asked that question is, you know, having a female police officer dealing with a female person, not necessarily because they've committed a crime, does that change the aura or the situation and tends to be more favorable and can come to a more positive outcome versus if it was male to female and females in the public never see a female police officer?
No, I don't think that's a factor. Male or female, male cop or female cop. I just see the same type of interaction. I can tell you to delve a little further that female cops, I guess they're more patient, more crafty, more able to persuade. They have the gift of gab where they can talk through tense situations and bring that level down. So, yeah, females do a great job with their communication and being police officers just to de-escalate. So yeah, I put 51% on females for just because of their de-escalation and their ability to handle it patiently. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I can see that. Just, the entire relationship, male and females, we approach problems very differently. And I remember I was in a major management program and they said, what's the difference between females and males in top management? And what it is that women take more time to make a decision. So the question was asked, why? And then they said, women tend to check with other women. and other persons, and they tend to see many different sides to the problem. Where males go one direction, they take it, they say, "Oh my God, I'm gonna take it by the bootstraps," and then they find themselves in the wrong direction. So
I
I
can see that.
Ah, so I always remember that. It says, yes, women may work slower, but they're probably at the other end, the percentage is higher that they're going to have a better outcome. So that's why I asked that question. And I come
That's
from
a,
the,
I can totally see that from that perspective.
and I think women are comfortable being treated by other women. They don't want to be patted out at, TSAs out in the airport where a male is searching a female. I mean, there's a need for women to respect and handle other women, and I see that as a positive thing. So thank you for that as well. You're a
Absolutely.
role model. You're a role model not only in your work and in the outcome of a wonderful career that you had, but even though you were retired, you're still a role model. You're still a retired police officer with all the experiences that you brought to it. And I guess that's what you put into your book in an indirect way in your character of Jessica. So, what message do you hope with young women who read your book or talk about it or something similar where they're talking about women going through U.S. Army school, in Fort Bragg,
Right. So
given your background?
So, what message I do hope I can reach other young women. I want them to follow their dreams. I want them to go after them with everything they've got. Don't settle, and you can make it. You just got to keep at it, strive, and when you finally achieve that dream, it's beyond amazing. And um, I'm gonna hold up a photo here. Women going after their dreams. Mine was being a motor cop, and that's when I was discriminated against as a female and then cut from the unit. My message to all my readers, all the listeners out there, especially those young women out there, if you're interested in the military or law enforcement or any career, follow your dreams. Go after it with everything you've got. Don't settle. You can make it. And that feeling when you achieve your dream is beyond amazing. I'd like to read a paragraph in Warrior Woman Sniper. Just a sentence. I just want to read this one sentence for all the young females out there that have dreams. This novel is dedicated to all those females who strive to achieve greatness and go beyond the boundaries of the status quo. Dream, succeed, and never give up.
Portion of today's show, which I want to thank you for being our guest, is what is the ultimate message you want to get across?
Again, I want you to live your life to the fullest. You can absolutely do it. I want you to chase your dreams because when you look back, did you achieve everything that you wanted? Did you fight as hard as you could? Did you make it? Are you proud of yourself? And that's what my message is to go after your deepest desires, your dream job, everything that you want out of life. Give it everything you have. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with the author, Liz Weber, Warrior Woman Sniper. And I think that as I read the book at the beginning, it seemed more of a story of a young lady. It turns out to be a motivational book. The idea is not just a story of someone in fiction who succeeds and fights for her dreams, but it's sort of a testimony of reality, of life, of what it's really like. It's not easy. It's not simple. It's not a straightforward shot. It's not beginning to end and with nothing in between. It's a lot of challenges going on. And then I want to applaud you not only for a wonderful, successful time in the police force, but as an author as well. I understand that you're working on your third, fourth book, and I see you writing a whole series that is ongoing. So I wish you continual luck in not only in your book, but in also helping to motivate young ladies and everyone to be successful. Liz, I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Armando. It was a pleasure to be here.
We'll have you on the show again very, very soon. Take care.
Thank you. I would enjoy it.